Greetings, everybody. This is Brother Jacob. This is the False Prophet channel where we expose Islam and the Prophet of Muhammad as much as I can when I have the time to do these videos for your viewing pleasure and for educational purposes. This channel is not meant to mock anybody, but we are only enlightening people on the false claims of Islam. The purpose of this channel is to shine light upon falsehoods and to bring Muslims up out of the darkness, in order to save them from going to hell, because that's exactly where they are headed. And in today's episode, we will be showing you from the horse's mouth, from the mouth of Muhammad himself, where he declared to his followers in so many words that he was not the final messenger. And once I read this hadith to you, it should be no doubt in anybody's mind. So we're going to read this hadith and we're going to back it up. We're going to back my point up with the Quran, but we'll get to there. But at this time, please address your attention to the following hadith that I am actually showing on the screen at this very moment. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to read this hadith and then we're going to break it down. Now, let's start. Narrated Abdullah, that means slave of Allah, if you don't know. The Prophet prayed, and the sub-narrator Ibrahim said, I don't know whether he prayed more or less than usual. And when he had finished the prayers, he was asked, O Allah's messenger, has there been any change in the prayers? He said, what is it? The people said, you have prayed so much and so much. So the Prophet bent his legs, faced the Qibla, that's the direction of prayer to Mecca, and performed 2 prostrations of sahu. And he finished his prayers with taslim by turning his face to right and left, saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I could have mispronounced that, but when he turned his face to us, he said, if there had been anything changed in the prayer, surely I would have informed you. But I am a human being like you and liable to forget like you. So if I forget, remind me. And if any one of you is doubtful about his prayer, he should follow what he thinks to be correct and complete his prayer accordingly and finish it and do 2 prostrations of sahu. Now, we read the hadith. This is from Muhammad's mouth. This is Sahih. It's coming from Sahih al-Bukhari. So the Muslims can't say that this is da'if, even though da'if is still accepted in Islam. Because if it wasn't accepted, it wouldn't be in the books. So they can't even throw away the da'if hadiths because they're not sure whether or not their prophet said it or not. It may be weak, but there is still a chance that their prophet said it. So that's why they don't throw it away. So when a Muslim try to tell you that, oh, this is da'if, we don't accept that, that's a lie. Because they even accept da'if hadiths when it comes to certain issues of like ablution and things like that. They still accept da'if in certain situations. So don't let them fool you and have you believe that da'if is rejected totally, because it's not. But I have to put that out there because I know how the Muslims are. They are very cunning and deceptive, okay? So as I was saying, these are the words of Prophet Muhammad himself. This is not the word of the narrator. The narrator is telling you the event that took place. Now, what do we see? What's the first thing that pops out of this hadith? Okay? Now tell me what you saw in the comment section, but I'm gonna break it down for you right now. The first problem is, as you see, they refer to him as Allah's messenger, okay? Now, Muslims say that Muhammad is he's the last messenger to the world. Not only Islam, but to everybody in the world. He is the cream of the crop. He is the creme de la creme when it comes to prophets. He's the last and final one, okay? But there's a problem, okay? Because this last and final messenger, he's forgetful. And this is not the first time he has forgotten something where his congregation had to remind him of something, okay? So, as you see in the hadith, Muhammad was praying, okay? And obviously he said something in a prayer, or he added something in a prayer that wasn't there before, okay? And his companions, they questioned him about it. They said, has there been any change in the prayers? He said, what is it? The people said, you have prayed so much and so much. Basically, they was trying to make an excuse, or trying to find a reason why this self-proclaimed prophet is adding something to the prayer or leaving something out. So in their mind, like any human, they are questioning his apostleship. And this shows that they were not as stupid as people believe. They had questions. They had a mind to see bullshit when it presented itself. Okay. Now, then this is when he said to them. This is when he said to them, if there had been anything changed in the prayer, surely I would have informed you, but I am human being like you and liable to forget like you. So right here, you have him, basically being a representative of his lack of remembering what he said. So basically like a lawyer in the courtroom. He's basically, giving a reason, a testimony as to why he forgot. And his reason was very, give me 1 second. His reason was very, it was lacking anything far as not saying that he was guilty of forgetting. Basically, he was saying, look, I made a mistake, but this is the reason why, okay? So he tells them that he is human just like them, and he is liable to forget like them. And then he says to them, so if I forget, remind me, and if any one of you is doubtful about his prayer. Now this is where it gets very troublesome, and it shows that he is not the final messenger, okay? Pay attention. He said, so if I forget, remind me, and if any one of you is doubtful about his prayer, he should follow what he thinks to be correct and complete his prayer accordingly and finish it and do 2 prostrations, okay? What's wrong with this picture already? Okay, here you have the final self-proclaimed messenger of Allah, Islam. Allahu Akbar, Takbir, Takbir, brother. Here you have the final self-proclaimed messenger of Allah, forgetting things and telling his followers that if I forget, then you become the last messenger and remind the last messenger of what he forgot. You see? So you have 2 things going on. Okay? Why is the last messenger forgetting things? And if he is the last messenger, why is he telling his followers to remind him? Because instantly, once he did that, he gave them the position of last messenger, okay? Because if he is the last messenger and he's supposed to be the one who is receiving the commands from Allah, Allahu Akbar. If he is the one who's supposed to be receiving the commands to teach the Muslims how to pray, and then he is forgetting these things, then guess what? The commands of Allah and the responsibility to give the message, once Muhammad forgets how to do it, guess what? The new final messenger becomes those who have to remind Muhammad. Okay? So if he forgot the message and he is a slave of Allah and a creation of Allah just like them, if he forget it, guess what? He has to be reminded. So he is no longer the final messenger. Okay? If you forget the message, it's just like this. If I work for the mail service, right? And they gave me a message to send to somebody's house. And if I'm on my mail route, okay, I'm riding in my truck, and I was given the job to send the letter to the house, right? If I drop the letter and someone else picks it up and delivers the message, then who is the final messenger? The person that was hired to do the job but failed to do the job because of negligence, or the person who actually delivered the message? Voila. Simple to understand. The person who actually delivers the message is the one who becomes the final messenger. Okay? So Muhammad is given a command. He forgets his own prayers. The prayers that he was commanded to do in a certain order by Allah. And guess what? He had to be reminded of what Allah told him by a companion of his or one of his followers. Okay? And not only that, this is where it really gets worse. He says, so if I forget, remind me. And if any one of you is doubtful about his prayer, I'm gonna read that again. So if I forget, remind me. And if any one of you is doubtful about his prayer, he should follow what he thinks to be correct and complete his prayer accordingly and finish it and do 2 prostrations. Now, what he has just said is that even if you, he said, if you become doubtful, that means you doubting that you even know what the prayer is. The prayer that he forgot. Because he didn't do his job and tell you. So if you become doubtful of what to say, he should follow what he thinks to be correct. As soon as he said that, he eliminated himself as the final messenger, and he put the onus of remembering the message upon the feelings of his followers. Because he says that the person who is doubtful should follow what he thinks to be correct. So that means that person, because of the order of Muhammad, is given the authority to create his own version of Islam. So that person becomes their own messenger. They become their own God. You see? And what does the Bible say? The Bible tells us to lean not upon our own understanding, but in all our ways to follow God. But here you have the false prophet of Islam telling his followers to lean upon their own understanding. If you are doubtful about this prayer, that you should do it however you're feeling, however your emotions tell you to do it. Okay? And it's funny, you will have Muslims today arguing about what their prophet said. Oh, he didn't say to do it this way. He didn't say to do it that way. Then they break off into different sects. And the 2 major sects, the Sunni and the Shia. But right here, You have their prophet giving them the green light to have confusion, to do things according to how they feel. So what's the beef about between Sunni and Shia? They should be able to come together because your prophet right here is telling them, he's telling you that you can pray according to the way you feel. So immediately, once he said that, he denounced himself from being the last final messenger. And not only that, even by him saying, if he forgets, he told them to remind him. Now, another thing I want to point out. Can you imagine if this was Jesus Christ saying this in the Bible? Oh boy, man, the Muslims would be having a field day. They'll be saying, how can Jesus forget something and have his disciples telling him and saying to his disciples, tell me if I forgot the Sermon on the Mount. Can you remind me, disciples? Can you remind me, John, the Sermon of the Mount? What if Jesus forgot what his mission on this earth was? Can you imagine Jesus in the Bible telling the apostles, I forgot why I came to this earth? Can you people out here remind me of my mission on this earth? Can you remind me? Because I forgot. Can you remind me? Can you imagine that? That would just denounce Jesus from being the Son of God. I wouldn't even follow Jesus if he said something like that. I'm just being honest. Because that's showing you that this person is not sent by God, nor is the words that his God give him. His own God doesn't even deem it important enough for him to make sure that his prophet doesn't forget the commands that he give him. Okay? Now, another problem is, you see how he said, so if I forget, remind me. You see how he asked them to remind him instead of pleading or asking Allah to remind him? So why is the Prophet of Islam, who receives the commands and the orders of how to do things, he supposedly be getting it from Allah? So if he got it from Allah, why would he tell the people he was sent to remind him of what he forgot instead of asking Allah to bring it back to his remembrance? If Allah is all powerful and all he has to do is say be, and whatever is, it just comes into existence. If that's the case, like these Muslims always tell us, oh, all Allah has to do is say be and that thing. Why didn't your prophet do that? Why didn't your prophet think to ask Allah to bring it back to his remembrance? Ask yourself that, Muslims. This stuff, it don't make no sense. And another thing that I want to highlight, okay, let's use our minds, The Christians, we have to use our minds because the Muslims are taught not to ask questions. They are taught to just be blind followers of this silly chaos that they call Islam. They can be killed for asking questions. So we have to be the ones who live in a country where we have freedom of speech. We have to utilize our freedom of speech. If not, what do we have it for? Okay, we got to be the voice of the voiceless. I'm pretty sure it's Muslims in some of these countries who have questions, but they are afraid either of being killed if they leave Islam, or they can be, rejected by their families and their communities. So that's where we have to come in and, speak out about this, okay? Now, another problem with this is, notice when he says, so if I forget, remind me, and if any one of you is doubtful about his prayer, he should follow what he thinks to be correct and complete his prayer accordingly, okay? Now, what if he's out here talking to all of these people, right? He just told them to do it how they think is correct and follow accordingly. So he's telling them not to follow Allah, number one. He's telling them to follow their own feelings, okay? But I thought he was sent to lead the people to follow the one God. You know how Muslims always talk about monotheism? He's not telling them to follow Allah. He's telling them to follow their own feelings. He's telling them to appeal to how they feel He's accommodating to the people. And it's many times, even in the Quran, where Muhammad has accommodated for people. Like when he wasn't in power, he accommodated to the people. And then when he got in power, then he started doing things, more, more, with more confidence, like smashing the idols in the Kaaba and everything. But when he wasn't in power, he was accommodating to the people. He was saying, I'm a Christian to the Christian, I'm a Jew to the Jew, I'm a Sabian to the Sabian. That's what he was doing in his early career. And he's doing the same thing in this hadith right here, okay? Now, there's a problem in what he's saying, because what if you have 100 people and all of them want to pray the prayer according to how they feel? What he just created was a hodgepodge of confusion where everybody is saying, I want to do it my way. And who are you, the next person, to tell me I'm wrong when the prophet has just said that I should follow what I think to be correct and complete his prayer accordingly to what I think? But I thought that, hold up, Muslims. Shh, everybody be quiet for a second. Shh. I thought that Muhammad was the perfect example. We supposed to follow his lead, right? So how are we following his lead and he's forgetting how to lead us in prayer and telling us to follow our own lead? But I thought he was the best example to mankind. Huh? I thought he was the best example of mankind. But here we see that he's telling us to be our own example. Problems, Muslims, problems. So this this hadith eliminates Muhammad from being the final messenger of Islam. And I like to add, do y'all remember the video I did? If you scroll down on my list of videos, you will see I did a video entitled Surah 2106 proves that Muhammad is not the final messenger. Okay? Do I want to pull it up? Let's see. Do I want to pull up Surah 2106? Let me see. We'll pull it up. Surah 2106. Let's go for it. Let's pull it up. Let's go for it. Why not? Why not? Why not? Let's go for it. Surah 2106. We'll read the Sahih International Version. I like to show things. Sometimes I'll say things and let you look it up. But this time I'm in the feeling, I'm in the mood to show you, okay? So let's read Surah 2106. You got to show the Muslim. They don't believe nothing, Nobody has time to be making things up. I don't waste my time, and I'm not going to waste your time, you see? So Surah 2106, okay? That's Sahih International. Let's read it. We do not abrogate a verse or cause it to be forgotten, except that we bring forth one better than it or similar to it. Do you not know that Allah is over all things competent? Okay? So by this verse alone, we see that let's put the hadith back on the page. By this verse alone, Surah 2106, we see that Allah is the one who causes Muhammad to forget. Okay? And he says in Surah 2106 that if Muhammad forgets a verse, that he will bring one better or similar to replace it. But right here, we don't see Muhammad asking Allah to bring it back to his remembrance. We don't see Allah bringing it back to his remembrance. So that shows you the inconsistency with what's taking place and what is said in Surah 2106. It says Allah will bring it back to his remembrance. But this is not the case. Muhammad is asking his followers, but that's the key word, followers. Okay, followers He's asking his followers to remind him. So when his followers remind him, then he start doing what they reminded him. Okay? Then who becomes the follower then? Okay, yeah, I think you get it. Okay, so if he's getting reminded, he is no longer the leader. He is now the follower, following after what they reminded him of. Okay? And since he forgot in the first place, what if they remind him something that he didn't say, and he thinks that it's the right thing, but it's not the right thing? You see? So no way in the world is this a final messenger of God. No way. I mean, you can just read this and tell. Like I said, if this was Jesus, the Muslims, they wouldn't let us hear the last of it. Oh, they'll be all in the comment section. Oh, ha, 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 ha. How can Jesus be this? And he was asking his disciples what his mission on earth was. Oh, ha, ha, ha. How could Jesus be God? And he told the disciples to do whatever they felt according to their feelings. Oh, ha, ha, ha. But when it comes to their prophet, they'll have every excuse in the world. And that only shows that they know that this is false. It's no way a logical, sensible person can read this and not question the actions of Muhammad. If this is not clear as day, then nothing is. And this, in my opinion, is one of the best videos ever posted on this channel. If this is not clear as day, then what is? This totally destroys, along with the other video I did, and another thing. It proves that Allah is a liar, because in Surah 2106, he says that he will bring the verse to Muhammad. He would remind Muhammad, okay? Now, before Muslims say, well, this is not a verse, it's a prayer. When you read the Quran, it says that you're supposed to obey Allah just like you obey Muhammad. So even if it's a prayer, it's still a verse. A verse is something that you say. That's all verse mean. You verse, it's just something that you say. That's all it is. So when he forgot the prayer, because you got prayers, verses and prayers in the Quran. So if they try to say, oh, this is not a verse, well, if you're going to say that, you got prayers in the Quran, and that's considered a verse. So also, the prayer that he forgot is also a verse. And he's telling them to remind him. So basically, he's telling them to write the Quran, because these are verses. Whatever Muhammad says is like Allah saying it. So Muhammad is giving them the authority to write the Quran in their own mind. So the verse in the Quran that says obey Muhammad like you should obey Allah, it may as well say obey Muhammad like you would obey Allah, and obey your own mind like Muhammad said, in case he forgets something. And this is irrefutable. So this is a no-win argument. This is a win-win situation. And the reason why I'm doing this video, I like to repeat, so Muslims can see the light. We've been trying to tell them, you know, this is clear as day. Muhammad is a false prophet. He is the Antichrist, like John, the book of John says. Whoever says that denies Jesus is the Son of God is the Antichrist. That's 1 John. Let's show you. 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 1 John 2:22. 1 John 2:22. Let's read. Who is a liar but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? He is Antichrist that denieth the Father and the Son. So Muhammad, Muslims, he is the Antichrist. He denied the Father and the Son. So this is clear as day. This exposes the Prophet of Islam for what he is. He's a false prophet. You know, he forgot prayers. He told his followers to do it how they wanted to do it. And this is no way that this can be a prophet of God. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, leave your comments below. If you saw anything and you wanted to share with us about how this proves in other ways that I could have, didn't see, let us know. I mean, we are here to help each other. Each one teach one, as the Spirit leads. So God might show you something and you can inform me about it and put it in the comment section below. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Muslims, come out of the darkness, leave Islam. Don't allow that Muhammad pedophile to lead you to hell. You don't want to end up like him. He's burning in the pits of hell right now, and you don't want to end up like that man. So turn from Islam, come to the light, accept Jesus Christ. And with that, this is the False Prophet Channel, and I am Brother Jacob, signing out.